Welcome to Two Millennials and Mom, where we bring you engaging conversations and respectful disagreement across the social spectrum.
Injected with the quirks of everyday life.
Curl up as we navigate the complexities of this modern world with all the humor and warmth we can muster.
And the occasional gentle ribbing. We're glad you're here. Happy listening. So, before we even hit record today, I walk in and Callie and Mom are full on internet stalking a person that they've never even met. I'm talking like deep scroll, multiple tabs, cross-referencing pictures from LinkedIn, marriage and divorce record filings.
Okay.
Just deep dive.
First of all, it was not stalking. It's called research, due diligence maybe. And second of all, don't you want to know who some of these people are?
And for the record, it wasn't even creepy. We just needed a little bit more context. Besides, all of it's public record. If it's all out there, it's fair game.
Right. So that's what today's episode is about. Some of us are content with just the headline, while others basically moonlight as private investigators. We're exploring what it really means to be nosy, from harmless curiosity to full-blown boundary crossing. Is nosiness gendered? Is it generational? Why do some people need all of the details while others are okay with just getting the tagline? And when is it caring versus controlling? Welcome to Two Millennials and Mom.
I'm Callie.
I'm Cole.
And I'm Mom. And we weren't being nosy.
I agree.
So when you say due diligence, Callie, what are you doing your due diligence on? Were you planning on interacting with this person?
Okay, first and foremost, this is somebody that I had interacted with. And then it's somebody I follow on Instagram. They have all of their family stuff out there. You see when they get a new dog or they've had a baby or the baby's turning 1 and all of these things. And it used to be them and their husband routinely. They've done lives together and all of these different things. And so you were interacting with both of them. And then all of a sudden he's gone. He's not mentioned. He's not in any of the photos. We don't talk about him. Nothing. And I just got really curious. I'm like, are they getting divorced? Which is fine. Number one, I have no interest in going to pick up the pieces on either side of that. And number two, I've been divorced. I get it. That's fine. But I'm just
curiosity.
curious. Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter. You just need to know.
I just want to know. There's a difference.
Nosy.
Well, so we also had a conversation the other day, and this is why I want to talk about kind of the gender roles in all of it. Mom and I have had situations where Dad or Cole or Ryan or somebody, some man will come in and say, hey, so-and-so just had a baby. And I have questions.
That
Women.
we do not have the answers to.
Is it a
How
boy?
much did
Is
they
it a girl?
weigh? What's their name?
We
Are mom
might
and baby both okay?
know the gender or the name. It kind of depends on how close we are to that person, but it is a big maybe.
I don't think that that's even true. I don't think that it has any relativity on how close you are to the person, because most of the time we come in and y'all say something, oh, so-and-so just got engaged. So-and-so just did this. And you're like, well, here's follow-up questions. I don't know. I don't
We
know.
we saw it on Facebook.
I
Then
don't
say
know why you
that.
even start the conversation, though, if you don't know the details.
Right. What's the point? You're just dangling that carrot.
Yeah.
And so then you put us
Yeah,
in this
our fault.
position
You're
where
right.
we have to go and deep dive and do the due diligence that you guys failed to do.
You have to. You have to.
if you want answers, yeah, you have to.
Yeah,
Well,
I
you
choose
want
to
the
not to
answers.
be ignorant. I want to know what is going on. I don't even care. It's just crazy. So do you guys think that this is a gender thing? Do some men come in and give all of the details? Do you ever ask the question, your best friend just had a baby, and you're like, oh, cool. Like, that's it? That's the end of it?
I don't think that's ever happened in my life for the
Yeah,
male to come in
I
and give
think
me
generally
details.
speaking, that real need for all of the kind of minute details on like social happenings is more generally required by women.
But the name is not crazy information to want to know.
Right.
I'm not
But
coming in saying,
but here's
did
the
she
thing.
have a C-section? How long was she in
Wouldn't
labor?
surprise me.
Oh, hush.
So here's the thing. If I see a Facebook post that my buddy Mikey just had a baby, and that Facebook post doesn't have the baby's name, I'm not going to call my friend Mikey and say, hey, what's your baby's name? Congratulations.
Oh,
Then
I'm going to
ma-
be looking for the other post that gives me that stuff.
For sure. When is the last post that he and her were tagged in together so that I know what her name is? So, because she for sure said, oh, Isabel Ray was just born into the world at 6 pounds, 7 ounces on Thursday, July 13th. And da-da-da.
But why do you need that detail? Why? Because what if you're never even going to meet that person?
But what if I do? And then I know.
And because you already know, that's kind of creepy. If
You
somebody walked up to you and you'd never met them before and they know everything about you.
Well, you don't present your evidence like a creep. So I hear you have a daughter. I do. She's 5. She's the same size as my kid.
So you already know the answers to the questions that you're going to ask anyways?
That wasn't even a question. So I hear you have a daughter.
Right. So you're having a conversation with that person. You have a daughter and you're going to ask, what's her name? When you already know the answer.
Well, I'm not remembering it 5 years later when they're in kindergarten together.
Exactly. Well, then why do you need to know now?
What if I have a baby in the next 5 years and the name's really cute?
Okay. There's baby name books out there. You can find the name.
I mean, I guess.
Also, if you're stealing someone else's baby name, kind of weird.
Is it, or is it flattery?
Yes?
So, since we always pick on you, is this a gender thing?
Right. That's what I'm wondering.
Generally, I think it is. Yeah. I think women have a tendency to need that information or desire that information more than men.
I think that's because women are generally more responsible for remembering those kinds of details.
Well, and I also think that, okay, Ryan has some friends that he was friends with the dude first. And then all of a sudden we're in a situation where it's the two couples, us and them. Well, if I don't have anything to go off of, I think, and maybe I'm just awkward. Maybe I'm just weird. I feel like if I have a little bit to go off of, I can carry on a conversation because Ryan and the dude are over here cutting up about all the stuff that they have in common and that last memory of that time that one thing happened to their friend. It doesn't matter. And she and I just end up sitting there going, hey.
So,
In fact, the other day, not too long ago, we were in 2 separate cars, and why we decided that he was going to take the guy and I was going to take the girl that I had had one conversation with ever in the history of ever. And we were driving 25 minutes somewhere in individual cars with me and her. And she's a nice, great, lovely person. But doing that legwork of keeping the conversation going with somebody that you know nothing about is exactly that. It's work. But because I'd asked all of these other questions before, I could say, so I heard you're a teacher. So I know this about you. And then we can carry that conversation on, and it eliminates that kind of awkwardness for both of us.
Does it though? So, okay, I've heard
Yeah.
all these things about you. The only difference is, so what do you do for work?
Okay, that's fair.
dang it.
Dang it. I don't know. So I will say this. We have some friends that she was dating this guy and she'd been dating him for a while. And then she brought him around all of us. And we're in the pool and having a pool party and nobody's talking to the guy. And I felt bad for him. And maybe, I don't even know. Maybe that's just part of my personality. Like, I want people to feel included and I want to get to know them. Like, she likes you for some specific reason. Like, I want to know why. I trust that choices and decisions are based on something, not because you're just a great lay and a shit person. I have no idea. But so I started talking to him and asking him questions. I was like, so I hear you have a dog. What's the dog's name? Fluffy. And after like 5 or so minutes, I had asked 6 or 7 of those, so what do you do for a living? Questions, and I got 6 words back from him, and now I don't have any interest in carrying this anymore.
Okay, and let me
Because
just
maybe he
say,
didn't want to talk to you.
But here's the other part of that. Cole wouldn't even have noticed that nobody was talking to the guy.
No.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have
I wouldn't
even,
know.
it wouldn't have, it wouldn't have even
'Cause
crossed
here's
his
the
mind.
thing. If you want to talk to somebody, go talk to somebody. If you don't, sit there at the pool party by yourself. That's
But
not
what
my
if
problem.
you have a person that's introverted and shy who's uncomfortable with doing that? You want to help them break that ice.
Yeah.
Maybe
and
they don't want to break the ice.
or maybe they don't know
having
how.
those conversations makes them uncomfortable, which is why they're not doing it.
Then don't come to the freaking pool party.
So he can't enjoy a pool party? He can't go to if he goes, he has to interact with every person the entire time?
I didn't say he had to interact with every person, but here's the thing.
Maybe he just wants to go and watch.
And fine, but say that.
Yeah.
State that, because here's the thing. You're sitting here saying, hey, he doesn't want to have these awkward conversations, so we have to go ahead and defer to him and his wants and desires that we don't know, instead of, I don't want to sit there in awkward silence with everybody just looking at him. So when do
So
my
ignore
needs
him.
get met?
So ignore him. Let him sit there
Yeah.
by himself. Go talk with the people that want to interact with other people.
But that's awkward for me.
Why?
I don't know, because it's weird. Again, this is somebody that I care deeply for values. So why would I? And we're a hard group to break into. So I want
'Cause
to
y'all
feel
know each other
opening
so
and
well.
welcoming to you. I want you to be comfortable and have an opportunity to get to know us. Like, isn't that a
Hospitality
point?
is kind of your middle name.
Yeah, like, isn't that kind of the point of attending a pool party with all of your person's friends?
Not for everybody.
Yeah,
I hate
I
to
mean,
say it.
and
Oh,
sometimes
God.
it takes a while to warm up to that group. Sometimes you may need
Mm.
2 or 3 of those times to feel out, oh, this is Callie. This is what Callie likes to talk about. This is what she's into. To observe and get that information without going and interrogating them for it.
Okay, number one, it was not an interrogation. We had been there for like an hour and a half. Everybody was in the pool except for this person and the friend, like, that we knew, and they were just sitting there staring at us.
I started to say some of this comes from you're just trying to help your friend along to bring
Yeah.
that person that they're bringing in into the fold and make
Yeah.
them feel comfortable. So it's not really an interrogation. It's really an invitation.
Yeah.
And I get that. And I understand where you're coming from, but also I personally don't feel like that is my responsibility.
And
Like,
you
if
don't
you want to
have to,
come
but
be
I
a
do.
part of the group, sure. And that's fine. But I also
So
think that it's
again-
important to recognize, hey, this is not how this person seems to be wanted. This is not driving interaction.
Which is
But-
what I did. I was like, okay, got it. You don't have any interest in being chatty and all of that. And still, this was a few years ago now. This situation I'm specifically referencing, A, they've broken up. B, the person that is in our friend group that we love, that brought them into the fold in the first place, or tried to bring them into the fold, had said, hey, he wants to get to know all of you guys. He wants to come and be part of this. Be nice to him. Okay.
Sure. That means don't pull his pants down at the pool and point and laugh. It doesn't necessarily
I
mean
didn't touch his freaking pants.
I understand. But when somebody says be nice to this person, that doesn't necessarily mean go to great lengths to try and have a conversation with them. In general, to me, I interpret that as don't be mean. Don't intentionally exclude them, but
Then
don't try and
I-
force them to include themselves.
Well, then I think that that's probably where my definition of don't be mean probably varies from yours, because we're all sitting in the pool. They're sitting on the couch outside of the pool, and everyone has their back to this guy. And I'm like, okay, that's rude. Like, that's not nice. That's not welcoming or inclusive.
Yeah.
So I turned to him. I'm like, okay, hey,
I mean, I can
welcome.
Generally speaking, I don't think men interpret that way. Like, especially if I am not, like, if I'm trying to be included in a conversation and you close me out, that's one thing. But if I'm at a gathering with a bunch of people that I don't really know and I'm sitting off to the side and they're not directly engaging with me, like, I don't think that is rude.
Can I just say I've seen you in that situation and it makes me very uncomfortable that I feel like you're feeling excluded.
Not really. I just don't know these people and I don't know them well enough to strike up a conversation with them. So I'm observing. I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
Nobody asked the questions. Again,
Because I don't
somebody's got to
want-
do the legwork. So like when we went to Dad's retirement party, I hadn't met 90% of those people there. We walked in and somebody was like, oh, hey, I know each of you because I recognize your voices because I listened to the podcast. If I'd had that information beforehand, we could have then had a whole conversation about that. But then because Dad didn't share that tidbit of information, then we're kind of on the spot going, okay, hi, nice to meet you. Looking
It
like
was a little
doofuses.
smoother than that.
Is smooth. It was smoother than that. You're right. But I truly believe, shut up, Cole. I truly believe that it was smoother than that because of the honing of the people skills that I have had to work on in myself to welcome people in the first place.
So let's use that example. Cole, do you remember even addressing that person back, saying anything about them? You let Callie and I do all the talking from that, didn't you?
Yeah.
It's a gender thing.
But here's the thing. I didn't feel the need. Like, oh, cool. You listen to the podcast. That's great. Thanks. End of conversation.
Right. But then we just stand there in silence going,
Or you talk about something else.
like what?
Whatever comes to mind.
I feel like that's doing such a disservice to the natural lead-in that has already been set up then.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I'm not sitting here saying, let's keep talking about the podcast. I want to talk about myself all day long. That's not at all I'm saying. What other podcast do you listen to? What's your
So-
favorite one?
You have to know that they listen to your podcast in order to have that question?
Yeah.
Like,
No.
No.
No, but that's just another lead into another conversation.
Right. But which requires no pre-knowledge from you. If someone walks up, hey, I listen to your podcast, and you continue to have a conversation, the natural progression is, do you listen to any other podcasts?
Right. But I think that my point, at least, is in general, in my experience, the man of the group isn't carrying that to say, hey, do you listen to other podcasts? They're doing exactly like what you just said. Cool. Thanks.
Because it's not important.
Maybe that's what it is.
It's
Maybe
maddening.
It is. It is
It's
maddening.
maddening.
I think that is the priorities of it. And I prioritize comfort for all parties involved more than you do. You're fine and completely comfortable to say, okay, thanks. If somebody said, okay, thanks, if I said, okay, thanks, and then we just sit there and look at each other, that's awkward for everybody, to me, in my personal opinion. And so I'm looking for, where can we go from here? In fact,
And my argument is that you don't need any pre-knowledge to do that. You just need interpersonal skills and a desire to continue having a conversation with them.
yeah, I guess that's true.
I'm not saying it's bad that y'all want to have all of that pre-knowledge. I'm just
Aren't
saying
you?
that from the male perspective, it's not necessary. Like us, we're not going to expend the energy to have that when we could have the same or a very similar conversation without putting all of the effort in beforehand.
I guess I just don't see that actually happening. But Cole, you had
because two dudes can sit in a room in silence for hours and be perfectly content.
Oh my gosh, it makes me absolutely crazy to listen to your dad on the telephone. Y'all have the weirdest conversations. Hey, dude, how's it going?
Pretty good.
Oh, it's not that fast.
No, it isn't that fast.
I'm
And there
there
are these-
tweaking over here going, get off the phone, say goodbye.
Yes.
You have nothing else to say.
There's these long pauses, and you just think,
Wow,
why are
waste
you
of
on the
time.
phone?
Because sometimes presence is enough.
It's not presence.
don't
You're on
have
the
to talk.
phone.
Right. But that person is still there with you on the phone, even if there's
That
not
just gives
something
me-
specific to talk about. But here's the thing, Mom, you and
That
Dad
just gives me heebie-jeebies.
could sit on the couch for hours and not speak a word to each other, and Dad would be perfectly content, and it would drive you insane
Absolutely. You're absolutely correct.
because all he needs is for you to be there.
Yes,
He doesn't need anything else.
that's true.
So women have greater needs.
Needy and nosy.
Wash your mouth,
You walked right into that one.
Ed. Dang it. So Cole, you had a little bit of a theory on biological versus evolutionary.
Yeah. So when we were kind of prepping for this episode, I think I had asked you because you had mentioned somewhere in the notes about like some data points. that are kind of showing that women tend to have, like, particularly when it comes to recall, being able to remember a lot of those interpersonal details better. So, uh, I don't remember the name of the study, but like for episodic memory, women are typically better with verbal and social details, birthdays, names, eye color, hair color, things like that, kind of those minute detail, whereas men tend to have a much
Minute.
stronger, what's that?
I said minute. I would not call someone's birthday detail minute, but I hear you.
Right, but for the vast majority of our conversations, your birthday is entirely irrelevant.
It is, but on that one day, if I can do so little as just send you a text message, "Hey, happy birthday, Cole," and make you feel special, I think that that's worth valuing.
Sure, and that's fine. But like to me, happy birthday, thanks. Like it's a nice thing, but like it's not gonna change the outcome of my life. Like it's not a major thing to me.
It doesn't give you a warm, fuzzy feeling that somebody remembered you?
Well, they didn't really remember me. They just got a notice on Facebook that said today is my birthday.
There are other ways of recalling information, such as birthdays.
Sure.
If I
but
relied on
generally,
Facebook, y'all wouldn't
like,
get nothing.
I try to remember people's birthdays. I'm horrible at it. You two can attest to this. I'm the worst.
Which
with
is a
birthdays.
point. I mean, you say you try, but do you really? Because I think most
Ooh,
men
calling her out.
delegate that.
For sure, because I know that it matters to you, but it doesn't matter to me. And so it makes it really, really difficult.
Okay. One of the worst fights I ever had with your grandmother, times that she got mad at me,
With your
was over
mother-in-law.
Christmas. Yes, my mother-in-law. She got mad at me because your dad, because I'd finally drawn a line and said, look, I'm not buying everybody's Christmas presents. They're your family. You buy your family's Christmas presents. And he waited until Christmas Eve and he went to Walmart and he bought these crappy gifts and he takes them to them. He takes them to them and her feelings are hurt and she's mad at me. And I said, oh no, don't be mad at me. Be mad at him. He's the one who waited until Christmas Eve to buy your present. Don't be mad at me. And she was not happy with me whatsoever. That's, in my opinion, I had to draw that line and say, you may want to delegate that to me, but I'm drawing a line here. I'm not responsible for everybody's gift.
Because I think that primarily the responsibility is thrust upon the woman. You have to go and take care of all of these things. You have to remember all of this information. You have to make this important. So that's also why I'm sitting there in the pool going, hey, this is important to somebody that I care about. Let me go ahead and get those answers because I'm going to be the one who's responsible for remembering his name when we run into him at the grocery store in 2 weeks.
So maybe my theory here will change your minds about this a little bit, about where that responsibility should lie. And I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying that my theory, I think that like genetically, biologically, evolutionarily, we as a species are split in the things that we specialize in. So if we go back to kind of some of these data points, because I want to illustrate my point here in just a minute, but like face and appearance recall. So women are generally more accurate, especially for other female faces, while men generally are less accurate overall. Women tend to be much greater with emotional encoding. They've got a greater integration between emotion and memory, where men do not. Like my birthday doesn't have a huge emotional attachment for me. Like it's just the 365th day. Memory reconstruction. Women often can reconstruct their memories with a much more social oriented recall, where men don't have generally the same capability. Women tend to underestimate their ability to recall. Men tend to overestimate their ability to recall in a lot of these situations. And women tend to have more training in recalling those emotions in details from childhood, where men generally, oftentimes, that is more suppressed. So I was just kind of thinking about a lot of these data points, and I want to headline with this, like remembering birthdays and to get people good presents for Christmas, in this theory, is more geared towards women, because that is what, like, throughout human existence, they have been the social representative for the family, whereas men's job, their responsibility is to remember, when you get to the rock, turn right. Like, they have more
Oh, that
spatial
opens up a
recall.
group.
Like, they're so my theory here is that, like, evolutionarily speaking, humans are persistence hunters. So they are getting to their prey through
Humans or men?
humans in general
Okay.
are persistence hunters. So
Okay.
they may not be able to race a deer across a field and catch him in that distance, but they can chase him for 2 weeks. And eventually that deer is going to get tired and we're going to catch up. Historically speaking, men were much more likely to be the hunters for their family. So they may be gone for 2 weeks chasing a deer or a buffalo or a mammoth or whatever it is that they were hunting to chase it down. So they have a much greater biological need for that spatial memory, that spatial recall, being aware of the physical world around them, its features, how to get back home, where the best ambush sites are, where the water sources is, so that they can always have a consistent source of meat, things like this. So they have a biological need for that information because they are going to be the ones performing those tasks. Whereas,
So really quick, before we move on to women, you're not actually talking about a man running for 2 weeks. You're talking about a man stalking for 2 weeks. This is where he's going. This is what's going on. So we're internet stalking and you guys are physical stalking. Not creepy at all. But I get it. I'm following
well, I mean,
you.
it literally is creeping up on animals so that we
Right.
can feed our families.
Right.
Sure, walked into that one. In that same kind of facet, where men have a much higher likelihood of being away from home, of traversing these much larger distances in search of prey, women typically are going to be much more based around the home site, where everyone is preparing meals, taking care of children, interacting, and being the social representative for their families within a community. So if you're making clay pots to store your water, or you're weaving baskets to store the berries that you're gathering, if you are in the field picking those berries, those are much more like, you can't talk while you're stalking prey. You can't have a conversation because you are so focused on stalking this prey and making sure that the prey doesn't know you're stalking them. Whereas if you are in a different role where you are doing something more communally, are you just going to sit there in silence while you're making baskets? Or because all of these families, even within a community, are competing with each other for resources, for space, for status. So your job as the female figurehead of your family is to not only be the social presence, but be aware of everyone else's social presence and to get that information to utilize to your family's advantage.
So we're doing the same thing, just different methods of achieving those goals.
Yeah, very much so. But you're all working towards a common goal, but you're different cogs in the machine. So, like, maybe I'm the tires and you are the computer that tells the tires how fast to go, tells the engine the RPMs that it needs to be at, tells the transmission what gear it needs to be in.
And all you're doing is just rolling right along with whatever she says to you.
Right, but without the tires, that computer's not going anywhere.
Asking for directions.
She is the directions.
So, I mean, that's just kind of my general theory, is that evolutionarily, we've had very different roles within a family unit that over tens to hundreds of thousands of years, to me, I think it makes sense that it could have developed into, hey, because I am the social emissary for my family 90% of the time, while my husband is out chasing buffalo, saying sup to his homies and nothing else, because not only do they not have a need to talk about anything, the only thing that's important is getting that buffalo and taking it down and dragging it back home. That's the only thing that's important.
Okay. And I could go with you kind of at that for evolutionary, but we've progressed a long way from there.
Right, but
Not
evolution
many of
happens extremely slowly. So
Not
if
very
you want to
many of
talk
you-
about, oh
not very many
gosh.
of you. What did she say?
Especially for men. You walked right into that one too, buddy.
Not very many of you are out hunting buffalo these days. I mean, you're going to
Sure.
the office and
But
you're
if you want to talk
or you're
about
competing on-
evolutionary changes, how long did it take humanity to develop that specialization? And when did we use it until? The early 1800s? Maybe the late 1600s, if you want to be a little bit more conservative? So how long did we exist before that to develop that specialization? I mean, if you want to talk scientifically, tens of thousands of years. We're talking about tens of thousands of years compared to maybe a couple of hundred. Like just a tiny speck on the evolutionary time scale. Of course we haven't adjusted. Technology is changing our society at a rate that is incomprehensible to us.
This is an old dog new trick situation.
I guess.
It kind of is though, right? We've
Yeah.
done
Right.
it this way for so long, and now you want us to do it different? And I think that you're
And
right.
I think that goes both ways.
Yeah, I
Because,
think that
I mean,
you're right.
we've already examined, like, hey, some of that knowledge that you're seeking, some of those details aren't necessary. We don't need those.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you still have the desire to have that knowledge, just like men don't.
If it really is a desire, or if it really is that training, that centuries long training that you've
Information
Even-
gathering. Hey, I just talked to so-and-so family down 2 caves down, and they have access to a blueberry field that I didn't even know was there. You know, versus, and I wonder, and I don't mean this to be disrespectful to men, but I wonder if some of that kind of siloed thinking is to kind of be selfish. Okay, I've got a herd of buffalo over here. They're here every day. If I tell all of my buddies about this herd of buffalo, now they're going to come and scoop in my buffalo.
Yeah, you don't
You know
tell
what I
your
mean?
homies about the honey hole.
Right.
If you take a buddy fishing, you don't give him your waypoints. I mean, sometimes you do, but you don't give him your good ones. You give him the good ones. You don't give him the great ones.
Right. Right.
And I think that's a totally fair assessment.
Interesting. So when is it a line that you're crossing from informational curiosity into straight up nosiness?
I mean, for me, it's like once you get past the headline, like my friend say, hey, I had a baby. Great. Is the baby healthy? Yeah. Baby and mom are fine. Cool. That's all I need to know. Everything beyond that is, to me, irrelevant.
There's a world of relevancy beyond that, though.
But
Do you
why do I need to know any of it?
Do you
For-
need any help? Is there anything that I can do?
He'll ask me for that if he needs it.
Really?
Yes.
Women are to ask for that help,
Yeah.
not as inclined to ask for that. You really think your
And
buddy
I
would?
think that comes from evolutionary biological standpoint, is you having to be the representative in a community in which you're competing with other people and you are constantly gathering information to give your family the best chance, meaning that if you display any weakness around your community, now everyone else knows they now have something that they can exploit against you. So you cannot divulge that information, but you can represent an opportunity. Do you need help?
I think that men and women in general, stereotypically speaking, not every man and every single woman, I
Obviously.
think generally speaking, women tend to seek that information as a form of connection, as a form of information, as a form of empathy, in ways to say, I know it's really hard to ask for help. I'm going to go ahead and do this because I suspect she might be struggling with this too, or she's going to have a hard time asking for this. And I've been there and it sucks, and that doesn't make it easier, but I can do this one thing, versus men feeling like that's an invasion of privacy. That's a weakness. Hey, he's having a hard time. I don't want to make him feel bad about that. I'm having a hard time and I don't want him to know about that. You know what I mean? And so I think that there is a little bit of a difference in how we address those things. and how we utilize that information. You know, you're talking about going back to the buffalo. I don't want to share the honey hole, but I'm happy to share the woman is happy to share the blueberry field, like I said, or the berry field. And we just focus on and address that information very differently. I want you to survive because this is going to make my life easier. And you go pick blueberries and I'm going to go grind flour, and we can share those resources and we both benefit from that, where I think it's a little bit more competitive from a man's perspective.
Sure. I mean, I think there's some competitiveness on both sides, but I
Yeah.
think from the different kind of points of view of gender, like if you are in a community and the men are away all of the time, those men may be away by themselves. They may be away together. It just kind of depends on the situation. You're still competing with the women around you, but you also don't want to do all of those tasks by yourself
Yeah.
because it is so much more efficient to do it as a group.
Right. Right. So jumping back into 2025, where we're not likely to be grinding our own flour, picking blueberries, or hunting bison or buffalo, do you, both of you, either of you, do you think that snooping through your spouse's significant other's phone is acceptable?
If
No.
you are to the point where you feel as if you have to be snooping through your significant other's phone, I think that there is a strong argument to be made that they probably shouldn't be your significant other.
I agree.
Because if I am hiding something from my partner, they're not really my partner anymore.
What
I would
an
agree with
interesting word to use. Partner. So is the
I think
Where-
that's the problem. I think we have moved away from that societally. I don't think we are looking for partners anymore. I don't think we are developing partner relationships anymore. I think that we have, by and large, objectified each other to such a degree that we're no longer I mean, with the divorce rates that we see these days, you're not building teams, you're not building a partnership. You are utilizing someone else to fill some need that you can't fulfill yourself.
leveraging them for your personal benefit and gain. Truth hurts. So then scooting over into kind of more of a digital space, if somebody has put all of this, any of their life out there, and then you go looking for it, is that cyber stalking? If you're scrolling through somebody's entire Instagram, public Instagram,
I
board,
absolutely
whatever you
hate
call
the
it.
fact that you can look up an individual's name and find their home address, find their phone number from 15 years ago, even. To
But
me,
Mom, those were delivered in for free in the phone book.
to a certain area, to a specific little area, not
Right, but if you had a general
worldwide.
idea as to where somebody lived, you can go get the phone book for their area and look it up.
Well, they don't make phone books anymore, I don't think.
No,
Right,
they're
but
digital.
in the era of phone books, you could.
I just
Like if
think
I said, "Hey, I know their name and I know that they live in Oklahoma City," I can go get an Oklahoma City phone book and start looking.
Yeah.
Calling every single True Blood in the phone book until I find Mecca.
Yeah.
I think there's too much out there and too readily available out there. But, I'm going to say, I've looked at people's, I thought they got married and, did they get married? Where did they get married? Did they get married in Houston? Did they get married in Denver? And I can go and look up and find their,
See, where they got married, why does that even matter?
because then
And
I know.
it may not matter to you, but just because it doesn't matter to you doesn't mean it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but that way I can say, they got married here. That's been 10 years ago. So they've been married for 10 years.
Well, and they put it on their Facebook. They put it on their Instagram to share it with the world. And we're friends, even if it's in a private account. And they have accepted me. Why is it bad for me to go and look? They
not saying
put it
it's
out
bad.
there.
It's just nosy.
It's just nosy.
You call it nosy. I call it informed.
Yeah, same thing.
I mean,
there are things that I'm nosy about, but like my friends' relationships is not one of them.
okay, what
Like
are
if you want to
nosy
tell me
about?
something
Yeah,
about
that's what I want to know.
what is the military doing with X technology?
Oh.
What is the government doing in Y country?
So we just
I'd
have
rather know about
different
somebody's relationship.
priorities.
Fair.
I think that especially with the advent of social media and the internet and doing away with physical phone books and going into digital ones. And Mom, you're talking about things being so readily available, and literally we all have supercomputers in our pockets at all time, in arm's reach at all times. Do you think that your generation and even prior to your generation, Mom, were more private by default because that information wasn't so readily available?
Absolutely.
And do you think that there were benefits to that information being less readily available?
Maybe in some regards, just because there was a privacy to it that we don't any of us have today. I mean, seriously, nobody's got any privacy.
Yeah, but you can also find out anything that has ever happened in all of the history of mankind. So I think that there's definitely a scale there. Like, are the pros better than the cons? That one's a much harder argument for me to make. But I
Yeah.
do certainly think that there are benefits and drawbacks to that change in scale of the information that is available.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to say if the pros are outweighing the cons, though.
I mean, we've touched on it in various different forms prior to today's episode, but the man versus the bear. As a woman, would you, Cole, consider it weird for a girl you're going on a date with that you've been talking to on whatever dating app or met at a coffee shop? Would you consider it weird for her to Google you before you met in person?
Would you Google her?
Probably not. I mean, there may be like a situation where I would, like, if I say, hey, I'm talking to my buddy, I'm like, hey, I'm going on a date with so and so, and he goes, oh, she's bad news. Now I might have some reason to go and find more information to understand what I may be getting myself into. But if I don't have any like preemptive reason to be concerned about you, then no.
And I think that that's a luxury of being a man.
So it's like, yeah, you would check them out.
Absolutely. I'm not going to pay $8.99 for their criminal history and full background check, so I know their blood type and how they voted in every election since they were born. But I'm certainly I would get on there and check them out, because I think that there is a different, y'all, this sounds so sexist. I think that there is a different threat level in being a single woman versus being a single man.
Physically speaking, absolutely.
Physically speaking, absolutely. And so I think that, again, the woman is going to empower herself with information and strengthen her kind of case with information because she doesn't have the physical wherewithal to be able to take that on. And so I think that it just looks different. Our strengths are different, right?
For sure. Our specializations are different, for sure.
And talking about being nosy, let's flip that on its head a little bit. You are putting things out there. We, the three of us, are putting things out there on the internet with this podcast, having conversations, and some of it we've talked about before, how vulnerable it is. Now everybody knows how I feel about this topic. Now I've sat there and looked like an idiot when I didn't know the definition of that word or what that actually, where that theory came from. Where would you guys kind of draw the line on being reasonable and being oversharing?
I don't want to know about your relationship drama on Facebook. Like, keep it to yourself. If you want to share it with your close friends, share it with your close friends. You don't need to let the world know that your baby mama is cheating on you.
And I feel you with that, but I think in some ways social media, especially something like Facebook, is kind of built for that. When you go and change your relationship status to single or divorced or widowed, it automatically sends out an update. Hey, this is Callie's new relationship status. There's not really, yes, you can go in and say, hey, this is only for me. I don't want my relationship status out there. But just because it's kind of one of those questions that is on there readily available, I'm not saying that you need to go and be like, hey, I just got divorced. Here's my divorce decree. This is the best day of my, whatever it is, and make this big, huge scene about it. But even if you just change your relationship status to be what is current, you're kind of making still a scene unintentionally.
It's kind of a, hey, look at me.
I'm kind of with Cole on this. I don't think that relationship should be on there.
I mean, I get it. Like, I get why it's there.
Why?
It's still, Well, I mean, Facebook originally was kind of like a dating app, wasn't it? Like it was to connect college kids with each other socially on the internet and was used oftentimes to develop relationships. And so if you're
No,
looking through somebody's status, oh, that guy is really hot. Is he single? Oh, that girl is really hot. Is she single?
That was not the original intention. It truly was a social network. I didn't realize that she was dating so-and-so's brother. I didn't know that we had that connection. We're closer in the 6 degrees of separation than I realized. And so it was not for many, many years intended to serve as any kind of dating prospects for many, many years.
I mean, but if we're talking about biologically, what are we built to do?
Mate.
Eat, sleep, and the other one.
Procreate.
Eat, sleep. That's a much better word than what I was going to use. Thank you. So any tools that we develop are tools that help us eat, sleep, or procreate. Networking, it's just a tool for eating or procreating.
Huh.
Some things really are that simple. I know they don't look like it, but I really think they are.
I think you can boil it down to be sure. That process of boiling it down is still important. You know,
What do you mean?
if you take and put strawberries and sugar on a pan and put it over heat, eventually it will get there, but you don't just immediately make jam, right? And so you still have to have the process itself. We have to have the heating of those elements slowly, not too fast, not too slow, so that we can get there. So I still think that the process is important. And I think that the same could be applied to social media and online in some ways. The process of getting to eat, sleep, and procreate is still important and still valid and still looks different for you versus me.
Mhm.
Sure.
That's all I'm saying.
But in the end, we're both still just trying to make jam.
Yeah. Yeah. And the quality of that
euphemism?
jam. What?
Is that a euphemism for something new?
I mean,
Not
yeah.
between Cole and I. Sorry, Buddha.
I mean, we're both still trying to make jam. We might not be trying to make jam with each other, but we're both still
Yeah.
trying to make jam.
Sorry. I
Okay,
digressed.
this is getting weird. So my question becomes, is there a line between being involved and being invasive?
I mean, I think so, because there's a lot of public information that I didn't put out there, that somebody else gathered and put out there for me.
Yeah.
And I
Sure.
think that that's kind of an issue, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
But
and
that
I-
is a what's the word I'm looking for here? That is a byproduct of the recipe that we're using.
I mean, you get that element of the things being available out there that can be misused. You know, I recently read this article about all of the nudifying apps. I didn't even know that was really a thing, but it was an influencer talking about never putting their children on social media because there's an element out there that will use even that innocent child's picture for, in this case, they were talking about pornographic things and how easy it was to do. And so, I mean, you have this element, but you have to protect in some way about it going too far. And sometimes it's really hard to protect yourself from that. You're not even a part of it. You don't know about it. So I think that it can be too invasive.
For sure. But I mean, how sad is it that we have to do that we can't have pictures of our kids on our Facebook
I
page
know.
because some creep is going to use some app
do rotten
to
things with
objectify
it.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's really kind of depressing that we've developed these insane tools that could be used to benefit our society, and instead
Or being
we're
abused to
nudifying
harm
people.
us. Yeah. Yeah. So I think that in all of this, whether you are a hunter or a gatherer, I think that we need to recognize that it's okay to be one or the other. And it's okay for me to want to ask questions, and it's okay for you to not want to ask questions. I think it's okay for
I'm not
both of
sure
us.
I'm going there with you because I think sometimes I think there is a default there that is used too readily. I know somebody else is going to do this. If I go back to the Christmas present, that default of, well, she'll take care of it. And so I think that it's not just, oh, it's okay if you don't want to ask questions. We all have an obligation to try to live peaceably within our society and responsibly within our society. And I think sometimes that may mean asking more questions. And Callie, sometimes that may mean you and I aren't stalking, that
Instagram
influencer
influencers
to
online.
see, did they really, did this really happen to them or not? So I think there's some responsibility there. And it's not just, oh, it's okay, whatever you want to do. I mean, there are people that I wish would ask a few more questions,
Yeah.
male and
Everything
female.
in moderation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I
That's a
mean,
really good point, babe.
I agree. I think that, and I think that that goes both ways. I think that as a woman, maybe that means that we need to ask fewer questions of you when you come in and saying your friend has just had a baby. But I think that that also stems a little bit on your part that says, hey, Cole, you need to ask a few more questions because you know your partner's going to ask.
We might need to alter our expectations of each other on both sides. We might need to
Yeah.
tamper our
'Cause,
expectations of each other on both sides.
there's the other side of it that is, just sometimes it's exhausting to be the one responsible for all of the information. So maybe that needs to be shared a little bit more.
Well, I
Not
also think that it's important to realize that sometimes you think you're responsible for more than you're actually responsible for.
yeah.
Well,
That's true.
and I think that that goes back to what both of you touched on earlier. We haven't done a very good job societally to say, hey, let's build partnerships so that we can divvy those roles up and that they don't have to look the same from one relationship to the next, but
No.
knowing where your kind of responsibilities start and stop and lie.
And
Okay.
communicating those, making
Yeah.
sure that everyone is aware of, hey, this is our relationship, and these
Yeah.
are these are the parts of our relationship that we're each responsible for.
Yeah, I know Tom is going to wait till the last minute to go get gifts. I'm going to have these couple of ideas ready based on conversations that we've had so that when he comes in and says, Mecca, I have no idea what to go get for my mom, you can say, hey, here's a couple of ideas. And it makes both of you look good in the end.
Yeah.
And we're going to say, hey, on Black Friday, you're going to go to this store, this store, this store, and get these 5 things because they'll make really great gifts and they'll make us look awesome.
Yeah.
But you're going without me because I don't like Black Friday.
Yeah, totally fine.
But that's
Totally
the point.
fine. That's kind of his role, is to be the goer and doer. And your role is to say, this is what you should be going and doing.
Yeah. You're doing the thinking. He's doing the executing.
Your mom mentioned this to me the other day.
Yeah. And I think that Cole really hit the nail on the head with that. You can't just be the thinker and you can't just be the doer without the communication between the thinking and doing.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's really important.
If you disconnect the spinal cord, your muscles don't work no more.
Right. Right. So I have like a goofy kind of quiz for us.
I think these are going to be fun.
I think that they're going to be kind of silly. I would like to ask you guys where a couple of situations rank on the Nosy Scale.
Okay.
0
So-
all the way down.
Shush. So 0 is, okay, cool, don't really care. And 10 is kind of the super nosy, what hospital, how dilated was she, what color were the walls? So I'm going to ask you guys a series
Question.
of questions. What?
Have you ever asked that question? How
No.
dilated were they? Okay, good.
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. That's the other end of the scale from
Okay.
I don't care to I have to know everything.
Okay.
So if your coworker shows up to work with a black eye and says that they bumped into something, where do you fall?
It depends. Is this the first and only time, or is this a regular occurrence? Because if
Does
it's
it
the
make a
first time,
difference?
okay, cool.
Does it make a difference if it's male or female?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, not really. Because here's the thing: if I've got a coworker who's getting in fights all the time, and they're coming to work with a black eye pretty regularly, hey man, there might be something we need to work on. Because at some point, that's going to impair your ability to do your job, which means I'm now going to have to pick up your slack.
Okay. And with a female, you just assume that she's being abused.
You at least start to question. Okay,
Maybe she's
what's
in
going
roller
on here?
derby on
Yeah.
the weekends.
And she very well could be. Maybe she's getting in fights. So if it's a regular occurrence, it might be
Callie.
one of those things where, hey, I need to dig a little bit deeper here to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Because that's only
So
one of
on
the
your
possibilities.
on 1, okay, cool, and 10, way too much. Where's your scale, Cole, on that one?
Even if you have a range.
Like the first time, like a 0 to a 2. The third time,
Oh.
like a 7 or an 8.
Oh,
Mom,
mine's going to be a 7 or an 8 the first time, especially if it's a woman.
I'm probably not quite that high. I'm probably a 5 or a 6. I'm going to feel them out either way. First time, fifth time, whatever it is. I'm going to feel them out
Yeah.
either way and figure out how far we really need to take this and whether or not I need to exhibit
Yeah.
more concern.
Maybe I was too high. Well, I'll go 6 or 7.
Okay. Your brother comes in and says, "Oh, I broke up with her," and then immediately changes the subject.
I mean, again, I think this is a little bit situational. Were they dating for a couple of weeks? Were they dating for a couple of years? In both cases, I'm not going to push the matter. You can talk to me if you want to talk to me about it, but I'm not going to press you on this.
I really like my brother, so I'm probably going to be at like a 6. Because again, I want to feel you out. I want to feel you out. Are you okay? Do I need to worry
Sure.
about all of your life savings disappearing? Do you need a shoulder to cry on?
Is your heart broken?
Yeah.
Or are you okay with it?
Are
Do
you
you care?
swearing off women forever now? Do I need to go kick her ass? Like, where are we at here?
Yeah, but for me, like, if it's my boy, hey, do you need anything from me? That sucks. You good? All right, cool. Later. Like,
Okay.
they're going to come to me with whatever they need. If they need something in this scenario, then they're going to come to me with it and ask for it. If they say, yeah, we broke up, and then we start talking about something else, he doesn't want to talk about it. So I'm not going to make him talk about it.
Your neighbor gets a brand new car and casually drops that they paid for the whole thing in cash.
0. Don't care. Not my business.
I probably don't care, but I feel like there's a reason why they added that detail that they paid for it in cash. Why are they adding that detail? That feels like an open invitation to say,
It's not.
huh. It
No,
may
I
not
don't
be
think
for
so.
you, Cole.
It could just be, I got a discount because I paid all in cash.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, you have to ask the question.
No, you don't.
You might
It
not.
could just
I
be
might.
implied.
So
No,
I
no,
know
no.
that
Yeah,
my
I got it for
grandfather
20. I got it for 21,000 instead of 25,000. I paid
Yeah.
cash.
I know that my grandfather bought a house one time in cash, and I didn't think anything about that because I just knew them financially. That was, I mean, they were farmers, so they didn't do things on credit.
Yeah.
That's what you did.
Yeah.
Because
So
when you do things on credit, that's how the bank gets your farm.
yeah. So I that one, the cash part wouldn't even faze me.
Your friend posts a photo with somebody that you've never seen before or heard about, and they're wearing matching pajamas.
0. Don't care.
Who's this new guy? I'm so curious.
Yeah.
Nope.
That was my brother-in-law. That's so cute.
They must be dating a new person. Good for them. On with my day.
Okay. I'm almost embarrassed to say this, but if they're wearing the same pajamas, then I'm going to go, oh, they're sleeping together.
Yeah.
I want to know about that.
Yeah.
They haven't told me.
No.
You're
Why
the
is it
one
any
who
of
said
your
we have to
business who
do
they're sleeping with.
inferences. Okay. Your parents say, we'll tell you when you're older.
Well, now it's like gross. Don't want to know. But like when I was 7, that's not
was
fair.
like-
I want to know now.
So you've aged into non-nosiness.
I mean, sort of. When you're a kid, you're just filled with curiosity. You want to know everything because everybody around you seems to know everything. So you want to know more. Now,
Okay.
I know that I already know too much. I don't want any more information.
You are walking through the grocery store and you hear somebody, you just happen to overhear somebody talking about, and then she found a wig in the dryer.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to stop.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to be like, ooh, weirdo, and just go to the next aisle.
And go on?
Yes. Why do I care
No.
that they found a wig in the dryer?
Why?
You don't want to know what else comes with that?
Yeah.
There's got to be something funny that comes with that.
Were they attending an Oompa Loompa festival and they all had wigs? Were they at some kind of orgy that they were wearing disguises? Like,
Not
I want
my
to know.
business. I do not care.
Not my business. I definitely care.
Was the spouse hiding something from the other spouse? I mean,
Were they children that they had wigs on their hamsters? Like, I want to know.
why did they have wigs?
Right.
I mean, it's simple.
Lots of
Not
questions.
my business. I look away when someone else is typing in their password. If someone is having a private conversation and I start to hear it, I move away so that I don't hear it.
Well, aren't you just the perfect little human?
It's just not my business.
I get it. So I will say this. I am that way about any kind of nudity. And this is weird. Ryan and I have had this conversation. I feel like those things, like nudity in general, is private. If you want to go and be nude with your spouse, or you want to be nude with your family, whatever that looks like and means, that's one thing. But I feel like if I were to walk into your house, you've invited me over. I'm not just showing up, but you've invited me over, and I just happened to catch you as you walked out of the bathroom and you don't have your pants up all the way. I'm turning around. So sorry. My
That's
bad.
just a polite thing to do. Also, you should probably pull your pants up before you leave the bathroom.
Also true. But for me, that has kind of proliferated into other parts of my life. So if I happen to be watching some movie and all of a sudden there's nudity that I'm not expecting, I'm like, really?
I think that's conditioned.
I think it is. I absolutely think it is. But I think that it is based on the concept of privacy.
Interesting. Okay.
Your friend casually drops that they don't speak to their sibling anymore.
That's a hard one.
That sucks. Sorry about that. Do you want to talk about it? No? Okay, cool. On with my day.
So that's a 0 to 2 for you?
Yeah, it's like a 2.
What if they say yes?
Then we can talk about it.
And how in depth are your questions becoming?
I'm not asking questions.
Oh,
You get to tell me what you're comfortable telling me.
okay.
If you want to tell me the story as to why you don't talk to your siblings anymore, then I will listen to your story. But I'm not going to pry here.
And
Yeah.
you wouldn't ask any details, any clarifications?
I mean, it kind of depends. It's going to be situational. Like if they say something and I don't understand what they mean, I would ask for clarification. But if it's, oh, we just don't agree politically, well, okay. Like it's not, are they a libtard? I'm not going to ask that.
But would it be, it wouldn't be something to encourage them to reach out to get over that?
Well, that's up
You
to them.
wouldn't say, but you wouldn't encourage them to do that? I know people that really have this problem and it's affected them a long time, but I hope that doesn't happen for you.
I mean, maybe it again, it's going to kind of be situational. Like if we're having a conversation and they're obviously very distraught over it, then I might bring in an anecdote. You know, me and my sister are very different politically as well, but we work through it. We often disagree on things, and it's really unfortunate, like especially if you care about your sibling, to not talk to them. So if you ever struggle, like you can ask me and I'd be happy to talk through any situation with you.
Okay.
That's just being empathetic and having compassion. But again, I am not initiating that. That is not my goal for that conversation. It is a service that as a friend, I am more than willing to offer, but it's up to you. You need to ask for that. You need to initiate that conversation, and I would be happy to go there with you. But I am not going to push into that conversation without you starting it.
I'm a little jealous of that ability
Yeah.
to be so disconnected,
Yeah.
That mind your business.
That it's such a
that it's easy for you to
front-facing
just
option.
let go.
Yeah.
It's not my business.
All of those things, I mean, the black eye, the sibling, all of those things hurt my heart.
Yeah.
And so,
How can I help?
yeah,
It's more,
there's
for
going to
me,
be a
it's not
moment.
how can I help? It's if there's anything I can do to help, let me know.
But people don't respond to that.
Yeah.
That's on them.
That's the equivalent of we should do lunch. That you both know you're never intending to call and say, let's do lunch.
But if you don't know that I'm genuine, we don't have a very close relationship either anyways. So there's probably not much I can do. And I'm not going to say that to you if I'm not actually willing to help. And I know that that's not true for some people.
Yeah.
But for me personally, I hope all of my friends know that. Like, hey, if there's anything I can do, let me know.
Again, I'm a little bit jealous of that ability to disconnect from all of that.
Yeah. Okay, my last one. You hear muffled crying through your hotel wall.
I'm not going to
This
hear it
one
'cause I had
happened.
headphones in anyways.
This one actually happened to your dad and I, with a couple of thumps against the wall and some screaming along with it. And so
That's a little bit different than muffled crying.
it's not really for me.
Yeah. I think part of that is the observant nature. So I'm paying attention almost everywhere I am. So I know who's gotten off on the same floor that we are. I know I have a pretty good idea of how many people are in that room and who is in that room and who pushed the button in the elevator, who is in more control in those moments. And so I have, and because I'm talking to everyone, as we have determined, I've already said hello to them and I know that they're from this place in the world and I probably know what their names are in most cases or anything like that. And so I'm not going to go bang on the door and be like, is everything okay in there? But when I'm in the hallway and I know that it was her or I know that it was him, like, are you okay? Is everything all right? Do you need anything? I'm not just going to pretend that everything is casual and normal again.
That brings me to a question. Cole, would you have said hello to any of those people in the hallway, in the elevator?
I certainly wouldn't have carried on a conversation with them more than likely, but I probably would have nodded and said hello.
Yeah, I can see you doing that.
Would
But
you
Callie,
instigate the hello or would you just respond with the hello if they did?
I mean, it kind of depends. Like if I'm standing on the elevator and the elevator opens and you walk in, if your eyes are down and you're not paying any attention, I'm not going to say anything. But if we make eye contact, I'm going to say, howdy. That's just being polite. Apparently, Americans are the only ones who do that.
And
say
apparently
hello.
make eye
Greet
contact.
greet strangers politely.
Oh.
And it's much more a Texas thing than it is anywhere else.
Yeah, I would have said that was a Southern thing.
But interesting. So now
I'm not
we
gonna
know
give
where
that
everyone
I
stands.
did think it was really funny. I saw like a Reddit thread here a while back and it was somebody who was asking, like, everyone who's not an American, what is weird about Americans that they don't realize? And the vast majority of people that weren't Americans were like, they're nice to everyone. Like, you can tell an American is walking down the street because they're looking people in the eyes and greeting them.
Y'all, that's something that I take as a pride point.
Yeah, I started to say I'm not giving that up.
No.
And I don't necessarily think that's true. I don't think New Yorkers do that.
I'd say it's probably less common. Yeah.
And so I don't think that's really common. And I'm afraid that we as Americans often have a bad rep because of our entitlement.
Boisterousness. Yeah.
And so I think that's interesting that their perception there is that we're nice to people on the street.
Overwhelmingly friendly.
Interesting. And brats. So
Yeah.
interesting.
Okay. I'm ready to get into our weird thought if y'all are.
Yeah. Fire away.
Okay.
So I have a really strange story that has been floating around the internet. I'm sure you've seen it, but here recently there was a farmer in France who had a bunch of squatters and a large portion of various travelers who had just taken up residence in their tow behind trailers and tents and things in the middle of this farmer's field. They intruded on his field that was getting ready to be harvested and took up residence.
Like the count was in the 500
Yeah.
range.
500 people.
Not one or two, not 10 or 15.
Hundreds.
500. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. 200 plus various travel trailers and things. 500 people. And due to the way that the laws in France have been, there wasn't really much that the police could do about it. So the farmer
Which is weird.
Yes.
That was weird.
Yes. I did do some research on the history of it, and it makes a smidge more sense, but also weird. So the farmer decided to take matters into his own hands. He'd asked them to leave. They refused. They'd been there for a couple of weeks at this point, so it wasn't like they were just in and out real quick. And They had come into a couple of different run-ins, we'll call them. And so the farmer
Well-
decided to take matters into his own hands and started spraying a mixture of what they call slurry, which is feces mixed with water to make it sprayable. And so he and a couple of his buddies get in their trailers and start spraying all over this field. And I thought it was really wild because the squatters themselves got upset about it.
Livid.
Yeah, like running and jumping on their tractors and beating their tractor doors trying to get to these farmers, and they're angry, and the farmers just kept spraying them with poop.
And offended that the farmers did anything.
Yeah.
That's the part that blows my mind.
We're just trying to stay here.
Why would they be upset with us? Well, you're tearing up their fields. You're not leaving. There's lots
you are destroying
affecting their
property that
Yeah.
they require to feed their families,
Yeah.
to maintain their farm.
Yeah. And so it
And
all
when I
went.
heard this story, I just went to my grandfather, who is the most peaceable man in the world. I mean, didn't spank me, never raised his voice, the most peaceable man in the world. And I thought, oh, he'd do that in a heartbeat. When you start messing with his land and his crops, and you're going to get some response.
Yeah. So, like I said, the farmers had gone to the police and all of this, and they were like, yeah, there's nothing really that we can do. And then they went and sprayed them with all of this poop, and it ended up in court, and the court ruled in favor of the farmers and said, hey, these people need to get off of your land. They have 24 hours or they're going to face significant penalties and fines, as
But
well
don't
as
you
police
think
intervention.
that was because they attacked the farmers, not because of what the farmers did, but because they became violent? If they
That was
hadn't,
my understanding of it, is that
yeah,
now there may have been something working. We know how efficient the court system is, generally speaking. I'm not sure if it is the same in France, but I would imagine that it is probably comparable. So this could have been in the courts for months when this all happened.
Yeah, so the farmers were all kinds of relieved. They were just really thankful that the court ruled in their favor in all of this, and the people who were camping out on this land were livid.
Tough.
I do not feel bad for them.
no. I am tickled that the farmers found a humorous way to do this. I mean, that didn't hurt anything. This is fertilizer
In their own field.
in their own fields. They didn't, that's not aggressive. That it's not
It's
not
passive aggressive for sure.
okay, I'll go passive aggressive. It wasn't violent, I guess is what I meant. It wasn't violent, and the squatters were. So kudos to the farmers for
I just thought
thinking
it was
outside the
really-
box. And
Yeah. A creative solution to a problem that you didn't think you had any control over. But
Not a field you want to be nosy in.
no.
true.
No, not at all.
Okay, hit me with our good news this week.
So we're just celebrating with Jen Powell, who made history as the first woman to ump a major league baseball game just recently. And so she came up from the minors. Woman had never been able to do that. This was a doubleheader. She umped at first base and at home plate, which I thought was really cool, and was the first woman to ever do that in the MLB. So kudos to her.
I love that. I think it kind of surprised me that this was the first.
I was too.
I did not realize that was
And
a
there-
thing.
There have been women in the minor leagues, but never in the major league.
Hmm.
So, and the only reason she got to do it was because of the need because it was a doubleheader. They had a need for more umps, and so they called her up. And she apparently did a great job. She was well received, which is another good thing, that you are just, you just want to congratulate baseball fans for being open-minded and ready for that, and welcoming her to do that.
Pretty cool. Way to go,
Fun
Jen. Keep it
Little
up.
story. Yeah. Good job.
Like it.
So,
All right,
well,
you too.
boo,
Love you.
we're going to continue to be nosy, and we're
Yep.
going to hound
And I'm
you
going
to
to continue
maybe,
to not have the answers to your questions.
we're going to ask you to
Okay,
step it up a
okay.
little bit.
Hold on. That is not what we agreed to here.
No.
We both have some work that we need to do. We need to ask fewer, more reasonable questions, and you need to be willing to come with some of those answers. That is a partnership. That is what it looks like, teamwork. We are going to be better for everybody.
Go,
We'll see.
Gig.
Gosh. Love you guys.
Love you.
Love you.